I am now 32 years old and I already live in my own apartment. But if you told that to my younger version, I was probably going to laugh in your face. In this video I want to show you what actually changed for me, where I was wasting the most money and how I slowly fixed it. And by the end I want to tell you if the risk and sacrifice were honestly worth it or not. And before we go any further, I want to make one thing clear. I did not buy the whole apartment in cash. What I did was I saved enough money to make this purchase possible. Around 100,000 K between me and my fiance. Enough for the down payment, the mortgage, the notary fees, and all of the fees that you have to pay upfront. And I want to make sure that you actually understand this because I'm not pretending that I woke up and I got the money. I'm talking about how I went from this feels impossible to okay, I can actually make this happen. The first thing that really changed for me was this. I stopped lying to myself about where my money was going. Because back then, I was not some finance genius. I was not one of those people who always knew how to save money. I actually didn't save any money at the end of the month. And I definitely didn't have my money under control. My initial thoughts were that the problem was simple. I thought I just don't make enough money. And yeah, income matters. Obviously it matters a lot. But once I started looking at my spendings, I realized I had bigger problems than my income. The first problem was hobbies. For me that mostly meant video games. I was spending way too much money on stupid things in games. I was opening so much cases in Counter-Strike. I was opening card packs in Hearthstone, skins in World of Warcraft and League of Legends. All of those stuff in the moment feel harmless. They are just for entertainment. They are not that expensive one by one, separately, but when you draw the line at the end of the month, I was giving so much money for this that I feel guilty for sharing. It was around COVID when I started trying to control things better. This is also when I first got my first serious job. Yeah, 6 years ago. COVID was 6 years ago. I made this rough rule for myself that ideally hobbies should only be around 10 to 15% of my income per month. And this is not because this is some magical number, it's because if you see my expenses, I was giving triple this number every month. And I was trying to brainwash myself that I don't have to be perfect, but there is a limit in my head. So even if I go to 16%, I know that I'm doing things wrong. For example, if I made 1.5k euro, then 150 would go to hobbies. That's it, nothing more. And honestly, that's not bad if you think about it. That can be 2 new games, maybe some cases in Counter-Strike, maybe some card packs in Hearthstone. But once I crossed that line, I had to stop. And just having that structure and that fake limit in my head immediately made difference. Now, once I started improving that, I thought, okay, maybe this is the big thing that is keeping me poor. Maybe this was the problem all along. Spoiler alert! It wasn't. Because when I checked my banking app more seriously, I realized my financial disaster wasn't gaming and hobbies. It was actually food. This one is more embarrassing than the gaming itself. I used to order food almost every day, 4 or 5 times a week. Easy. And the crazy part is I actually had this mindset that cooking was for the poor, which is insane because I was making around 1.5k a month. At the time. I was not even near average. I was not rich. I was just acting rich in the dumbest possible way. In my head, ordering food felt efficient. Cooking felt like waste of time. You spent 1 or 2 hours shopping. You spent time cooking, cleaning after that, washing the dishes, eating. Meanwhile, with delivery, you order the food in 2 to 5 minutes, you eat it in 5 to 10 minutes, and you're done. That's it. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Until you look at the numbers. In 2021, I had spent around 60% of my salary on food orders. 60%! This was massive shock for me, because suddenly I couldn't hide behind I'm just enjoying my life, because I always thought if I work I can afford whatever I want to eat. I won't limit myself on food. But I couldn't hide anymore behind this lie, because I had the numbers in front of me. I was giving way too much money for food. And when you're around 28 years old and you see these numbers, you're starting to ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Why am I spending so much money on stupid things? So I decided to start learning how to cook basic meals. I already knew some of them, but I expanded my knowledge. I started learning rice and chicken, simple soups, pasta, eggs, nothing fancy, just food I could actually make without turning it into a whole event. And I won't exaggerate when I say that this change only made me feel like rich millionaire. This was the first time that I could feel money staying with me. I could actually finish some months where I have money left, like 20% of my salary was staying in my bank account. That was a surprise for me. I could save some money. And that was huge. At this point, I felt like I fixed the hobbies, I fixed the food. I have a lot of money saved, like 20% is a lot for my salary in the region where I live. I probably thought, now I'm settled. But when you start saving some money, you would like to spend them on something. So here comes the third thing, traveling. And this is a hard one for me because I actually love it. Me and my wife love traveling a lot. And anytime we had money, we wanted to go somewhere. Different cities, different countries, nice hotels, I'm not gonna lie. Expensive restaurants, flights, the whole package. I'm not saying those were bad memories. No, these are probably the best memories in my life. But if I have to be honest, this lifestyle was directly fighting against my goals. I was trying to live like people who had no targets in front of them. And actually we had the biggest possible target, buying a house. And yeah, if I wanted to achieve that, I had to change something. And I came with this perfectly genius idea. Wow! We still go to travel every time that we can. But instead of booking 5-star hotels, we start looking for cheaper hotels. And we look for Airbnbs. Because if you think about it, we're actually in the hotel only to sleep or maybe after the spa. During the day, we're out exploring, going to hikes, going to different places in the city. The only thing that we need from the room is to be clean and to not have any bugs. If that's covered, we are fine. And yeah, we still enjoy our travels a lot, but we don't overspend like 2k euro, 1.5k euro every second month. And this shift was really useful for us. And with all these changes, I finally felt that I have control over my spendings and my money and quite frankly my life. It was around 2023 where I had to decide what to do with those money because I knew that the inflation was eating them. And I started reading, researching, talking to my friends that were investing money. I was thinking that I should invest money, but I didn't felt like investing is a good idea before having an emergency fund. And based on research, that's actually a good instinct that I had. So what's emergency fund? And just to clarify, I'm not a financial expert and I'm not pretending to be. I will try to explain things the way that I understand them, but you're responsible to what you do with your own money. Emergency fund, for me, is to have some money saved, like 2 or 3 salaries or 5 salaries that you can spend on emergencies. What are emergencies? Let's say car crash. You break your leg, you need money. Some expensive operations require a lot of money. Like emergency stuff that happen in life, whether you like it or not. And why you need to prioritize emergency fund before investing is because if, let's say, you invest money in some stock, the stock performs bad the next 6 months, but suddenly you need money for emergency and you have to sell the stock and you will sell on minus and you will have lost the money that you invested, like let's say 20% down, and you will lose 20% of those money. But if you have emergency fund, you first have to go through it before you sell the stock on loss. Point is, you want to invest money to make money, not to lose money, and you don't want to invest money before having some safety. And to be honest, investing was not what saved me. The real change happened before that, when I stopped leaking money for food and gaming, and when I stopped visiting hotels that I cannot afford. And I didn't understand anything about investing. I had to do some research, and based on my research, it said, if you don't understand anything about investing, you should invest in SMTPs. Yeah, I didn't do that. I invested in riskier companies and I got some good luck. So for a year and a half of investing and saving money and not leaking money, I saved around 15k euro. That might not sound like a crazy number for some people, but for me this was insane. It was so huge. Because for the first time in my life, I managed to save money equivalent to multiple salaries. And when you have this money, you start feeling like you could actually change, you could actually build towards something more serious. Then 2025 came and again everything changed. My salary went up like double, it was now around 2.5k. And I don't want this to sound as discipline is the only thing that matters. I'm not pretending it is. A higher salary mattered a lot, timing mattered a lot, luck mattered a lot. And my career progress made a lot of change. All of this helped. The good thing here is when the higher salary came, my habits were already completely different and I was not leaking money. Because if I didn't do the changes when I had to do them, I would still overspend on hobbies and I would still overspend on food. And in the end of 2025, I was able to save around 50k euro, more like 45k. And the good part here is that I didn't had to buy the home alone. My fiance entered with some of the money, so we both gave around 25 to 30k each. And this way I didn't have to sell all of my investings. So yeah, the house cost us around 500k, but we had to prepare 120k upfront for all of the fees. Like we have to have 20% of the house price before that. And what I can honestly say now is, yes, you can still buy a home. It's way harder than it should be, to be honest, because if you don't build the discipline, the habits that you need, and if you just rely on job, it's impossible. You need to change a lot of stuff and you need some luck, but yes, it's possible. And 5 years ago, I honestly thought it wasn't. So, was it worth it? Honestly, for me, yes. But not because the change was easy and not because I enjoyed every part of changing my life. I mean, now I do, but when I did the things I didn't. And I don't think everyone should follow my steps. For some people, maybe renting longer and keeping more flexibility would feel more worth it. And that's a real choice, I respect that. A lot of people decide owning a place is impossible before they even sit down and look honestly at what their money is actually doing. And currently for almost 1 year, the price of the property is already 15% up. So yes, you can look at this as a home, but you can also look at it as an investment. And to all the younger people and Gen Zs that are struggling, yes guys, it's possible. Is it hard? Yes. Is it expensive? Yes. Is it unfair? Definitely. But is it impossible? I don't think so. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you